Donald Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in New York City. He grew up in a wealthy family and later joined his father's real estate business. Over the years, he became a successful businessman, known for building large hotels, golf courses, and office towers. He also became a television personality through his popular show The Apprentice, where he often said the famous line, "You're fired." This made him even more famous across the United States. Trump had no experience in government or the military, but he often shared strong opinions about American politics, business, and leadership. Many people liked how he spoke without fear, even if they didn't always agree with him. In 2015, he shocked the country by announcing that he would run for president. People laughed at first, thinking he had no chance. But his message was clear. He wanted to make America great again. His words reached many people who felt ignored by the government. In 2016, he won the election and became the 45th president of the United States. His rise to power showed that anyone with a strong voice and loyal followers could change the rules of politics. Even someone with no political background. Donald Trump promised that he would always put America first, and this idea became the heart of his leadership. From the very beginning, he told the American people that he would work for them and no one else. He said he wanted to protect their jobs, their safety, and their future. Many people in the United States believed that past presidents had cared more about helping other countries than about helping Americans. Trump said he would change that. He said, "I am your voice." And this message became very powerful for many working-class citizens. One of the main ways Trump tried to help Americans was by changing the economy. He lowered taxes for both individuals and businesses. He said, "This would give people more money and help companies grow." Some people did see more money in their paychecks. Big businesses also saved billions of dollars. Trump believed that when businesses do well, they hire more people. He also tried to bring jobs back to America by asking companies not to move their factories overseas. He told them, "Make your products in America, hire American workers." Some companies responded, and there were moments when more jobs were created. However, critics argued that most of the tax savings went to the rich and big corporations, not to the average worker. Trump also reduced government rules, which are called regulations, especially in the energy, finance, and construction industries. He believed that too many rules made it hard for businesses to grow. By removing some of these rules, he hoped to make it easier for companies to build, invest, and hire. Supporters said this made the economy stronger. Opponents said it could harm the environment, worker safety, and public health. Healthcare was another big issue during his presidency. Trump tried to end a law called the Affordable Care Act, which was passed under President Barack Obama. He said it was too expensive and not working well, but he did not create a strong replacement. Millions of Americans were unsure about what would happen to their healthcare plans. Some people lost their coverage or had to pay more. Others were glad that Trump was trying to change a system they believed was broken. Still, many healthcare experts said his changes made things more uncertain. On immigration, Trump made big promises. He said he would build a wall on the border between the United States and Mexico to stop illegal immigration. He also wanted to make immigration rules stronger, so that fewer people could come to the U.S. without permission. He said this would protect American jobs and stop crime. Some Americans supported this, especially in places where they felt immigrants were taking work away. Others were very upset. They believed that America should welcome people, not turn them away. Trump's immigration policies were some of the most debated topics of his time in office. Many families were separated at the border. Children were kept in shelters away from their parents. The images and stories shocked people all over the world. When it comes to foreign policy, how a country deals with others, Donald Trump had a very different style from past leaders. He said he didn't want America to be the world's policeman. He believed that the U.S. was spending too much money helping other countries while ignoring its own problems. He wanted to bring American soldiers home and reduce the number of wars. This idea sounded good to many people who were tired of long conflicts in places like Afghanistan and Iraq. However, Trump's way of talking to other world leaders was often unusual. He did not always follow traditional diplomatic behavior. He preferred direct meetings, personal letters, and big public statements. For example, he had a very surprising relationship with Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea. At first, Trump called him names like Little Rocket Man and warned him of total destruction. But later, they met in person and shook hands. Trump said he wanted to make peace. Some people thought this was bold and brave. Others said it was dangerous and made the U.S. look weak. With China, Trump took a very tough approach. He said that China was not trading fairly and that it was stealing American technology. To fight back, Trump created a trade war. He placed high taxes on goods coming from China, and China answered by doing the same. This hurt some American farmers and businesses. Prices went up for some products. Still, Trump believed this was the only way to stop China from growing too powerful. He also blamed China for not stopping the spread of COVID-19 early enough, calling it the China virus, which caused anger and fear in many communities. Trump also made changes to America's relationships with close allies. He asked countries in NATO, a group of Western military allies, to pay more for their defense. He said the U.S. was paying too much and that it was unfair. He also questioned long-standing agreements and partnerships, such as the Paris Climate Agreement and the Iran nuclear deal, both of which he pulled out of. He said these deals were bad for the U.S. and gave too much power to other nations. Supporters said Trump was protecting America's interests. Critics said he was damaging trust and weakening America's leadership in the world. Despite these changes, Trump also made strong alliances. He became close with leaders like Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia, and Vladimir Putin in Russia. His friendly approach toward Putin, in particular, was surprising to many. He often avoided criticizing Russia, even when U.S. intelligence agencies said Russia interfered in American elections. Some saw this as a sign of diplomacy. Others saw it as ignoring a serious threat. Trump's behavior as a leader toward his own country and other nations was bold, personal, and focused on making America stronger in his own way. At home, he tried to improve the economy, lower taxes, and protect American jobs. He changed immigration rules and tried to rebuild pride in American identity. In the world, he chose to act alone more often than as part of a team. He believed in strong deals, direct talks, and standing up to countries he thought were not fair. This leadership style made him popular with many Americans, especially those who felt ignored. But it also created tension, both inside the U.S. and across the globe. What we learn from Donald Trump's actions both with Americans and with other countries is that leadership can be powerful, but also risky. Making big promises and bold decisions can bring change, but it can also bring conflict. Trump believed in doing things differently. He challenged old systems and forced the world to pay attention. Whether his choices helped or hurt the country is something people still debate. But no one can deny that his leadership left a lasting impression, not just in America, but in the whole world. One of the most well-known things about Donald Trump is the way he deals with people who disagree with him. From the start of his political career, Trump made it clear that he would not stay silent when someone challenged him. He doesn't avoid conflict, instead, he often welcomes it. When someone criticizes him, whether it is a politician, a news reporter, a celebrity, or even a person from his own team, Trump usually answers back. His replies are not soft or polite. They are strong, direct, and sometimes even personal. This aggressive style has become one of the key parts of his political identity. Trump is famous for giving nicknames to his opponents. These names are short, memorable, and often insulting. For example, he called Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, Hillary Clinton Crooked Hillary, and Barack Obama the worst president in history. These names are repeated in his speeches, interviews, and social media posts. Supporters laugh and cheer when he uses them. They say it makes politics more fun and easier to understand. They believe these nicknames show that Trump is not afraid to speak his mind. Critics, on the other hand, say that these names are childish, disrespectful, and dangerous. They argue that using such language lowers the quality of political debate and creates a culture of bullying. Trump's way of dealing with opponents is not just about nicknames, it's also about how he treats people inside his own team. During his time in the White House, Trump hired and fired many people. Some of these people supported him strongly at first, but later disagreed with him on important issues. When this happened, Trump often attacked them publicly. He sometimes called them weak, disloyal, or nasty. For example, he fired James Comey, the director of the FBI, after Comey refused to stop investigating Trump's connections with Russia. Trump also criticized his former defense secretary, James Mattis, who once served as one of his top generals. These public fights with former allies made headlines and showed how Trump demands loyalty above everything else. Some people believe that this is a smart strategy. They say a leader should only work with people who believe in the same goals. They think Trump was trying to keep his team strong and focused. Others believe this approach is harmful. They say good leaders should listen to different opinions and surround themselves with people who are not afraid to disagree. They argue that Trump's unwillingness to accept criticism made his leadership weaker, not stronger. In political debates and public events, Trump's behavior toward opponents is also very noticeable. He often interrupts them while they are speaking. He talks over them, mocks them, and sometimes insults them to their faces. One clear example of this happened during the 2020 presidential debate with Joe Biden. Trump interrupted Biden many times, spoke loudly, and ignored the moderator's rules. While this made him look energetic and aggressive to his supporters, many people watching at home felt uncomfortable. They said Trump did not show respect for the debate process or for the other candidate. Trump also attacks the media, especially news organizations that criticize him. He has called major American news channels like CNN and MSNBC fake news. He has accused journalists of lying, spreading hate, and working against the country. Sometimes, he even refused to answer their questions during press briefings. He claimed that the media was unfair to him from the beginning. While some Americans agreed with him, many were worried. In a free society, the media plays an important role in checking the power of the government. critics feared that Trump's constant attacks on the press could damage democracy by making people distrust the truth. Even after leaving office, Trump continued to target his political enemies. He spoke at rallies and posted on social media, warning his followers that the system was broken and that powerful people were trying to silence him. He claimed that elections were unfair and that many leaders, even from his own political party, could not be trusted. These messages kept his supporters loyal and angry. They felt they were part of a fight, not just a political one, but a personal one. Critics said Trump was dividing the country and putting himself above the truth and the law. Another way Trump deals with opponents is by turning every situation into a competition. For him, politics is a game where there are only winners and losers. He often says things like, "We will win big," or "They are failing badly." He compares himself to past presidents and always claims he is better. This way of thinking pushes him to fight harder, but it also closes the door to compromise. In politics, leaders sometimes need to listen, negotiate, and find common ground. Trump, however, often chooses to fight instead of talk. Supporters say this is a sign of strength. They say Trump is not afraid to stand alone. He does not follow the crowd or worry about being liked by everyone. They believe this kind of courage is what makes a real leader. But others say true strength is found in listening, learning, and growing. They believe Trump's refusal to accept advice or criticism hurt the country more than it helped. We also see Trump's aggressive style in the way he speaks about people from other countries. He has used strong and sometimes offensive language to describe immigrants, leaders of other nations, and entire groups of people. His opponents call this racist and dangerous. His supporters say he is just telling the truth and protecting American interests. These different views show how behavior and language can be understood in different ways, depending on who is listening. Trump's way of handling opponents teaches us that political power is not only about laws or also about words, tone, and behavior. A leader's attitude can shape how people see each other. It can bring people together or tear them apart. It can create peace or cause fear. Trump chose to lead by fighting. He believes in winning, in beating others, and in showing power. This strategy made him famous, loved by some, and hated by others. In the end, Trump's behavior toward opponents shows us a lot about his leadership style. He believes in strength, loyalty, and winning at all costs. He does not accept defeat quietly. He does not forget criticism. He attacks, speaks out, and stays in the spotlight. Whether you agree with him or not, it is clear that Donald Trump changed how modern political leaders deal with opposition. His actions have left a strong example, for better or for worse, of what happens when a leader chooses conflict over compromise and boldness over balance. During his time as president, Donald Trump had to deal with several crises. One of the biggest was the COVID-19 pandemic. Many people looked to him for leadership and clear information, but his behavior during the pandemic was often confusing. At some points, he called the virus dangerous. At other times, he said it was under control. This made people unsure of what to believe. He also argued with scientists and health officials. Instead of listening quietly to expert advice, Trump often gave his own ideas if they were not correct. For example, he once talked about using light or disinfectants inside the body, which surprised many people. Scientists quickly said this was dangerous, but some people still believed him. This showed how powerful a leader's words can be. Trump also did not wear a mask in public at first, even when many health workers said it was important. His choices during the crisis made people wonder if he cared more about looking strong than keeping people safe. Some of his supporters said he was protecting freedom. Others said his leadership during the crisis was risky and confusing. Either way, his behavior left a big impact. Donald Trump's leadership was different from what the world had seen before. He was not a traditional politician. He did not come from a background in government or military. Instead, he came from business, media, and television. When he became the 45th President of the United States, many people did not know what to expect. But what followed over the next 4 years became one of the most talked about periods in modern political history. Whether people loved him or hated him, one thing was clear: Donald Trump changed how many people think about leadership. One of the first lessons we learn from Trump's leadership is the power of communication. Trump understood how to get attention. He used social media, especially Twitter, to speak directly to the public. He didn't rely on newspapers or television channels to share his message. Instead, he posted his thoughts online, often early in the morning or late at night. His tweets were short, sometimes emotional, and often surprising. This made headlines across the world. People woke up and asked, "What did Trump say today?" His way of communicating was fast, bold, and personal. Supporters felt like he was talking to them directly. Critics felt his words caused confusion or fear. But either way, he made sure people were always listening. Another thing we learn from Trump's leadership is that personality can become policy. In traditional politics, leaders usually follow formal rules and behave in polite ways. But Trump broke that pattern. He led with his own personality. If he felt angry, he showed it. If he was proud, he shared it loudly. His feelings were visible. And he did not hide his emotions. Some people liked this. They said, "He is real. He is not fake like other politicians." Others thought this was dangerous. They said a leader should think carefully before speaking or acting. But Trump believed that strength came from being direct, not quiet. He wanted people to see him as a fighter who would never back down. This personal style shaped the way he governed. His emotions were not just private feelings, they affected decisions made in the White House. We also learn about the role of division and unity in leadership. A great leader can bring people together, even if they come from different backgrounds or beliefs. But during Trump's time, many people felt the country became more divided. His words often put people into groups: supporters and enemies, winners and losers, patriots and outsiders. He spoke to his base, the group of people who supported him most, and gave them confidence. But at the same time, others felt left out, judged, or even attacked. For example, his strong stance on immigration made many people feel unsafe. His comments about women, minorities, and other world leaders were often criticized. Some said he was telling the truth. Others said he was spreading hate. This shows us how a leader's words can bring people together or push them apart. Trump also taught the world about populism, a political style where leaders say, "I speak for the common people." Populist leaders usually argue that traditional politicians are out of touch and don't care about ordinary citizens. Trump used this idea again and again. He said that the system was broken, that the media could not be trusted, and that only he could fix things. Many people believed him because they were tired of hearing the same promises from other leaders. They felt ignored, and Trump gave them a voice. But critics said that this type of message often creates fear and distrust. They said that when people stop trusting everything, it becomes harder to work together as a country. Still, this message helped Trump win millions of loyal followers. Another lesson from his leadership is about media power. Trump understood how news works. He knew how to control headlines and keep himself in the spotlight. He said things that shocked people, and the media followed every word. This gave him more attention than any president before him. But it also made people question the role of the press. Trump called many news stories fake news and said that some journalists were the enemy of the people. This made some Americans lose trust in the media. At the same time, it raised a bigger question: should a leader fight with the press, or work with them to inform the public? One of the biggest things we learn from Donald Trump's time as president is that leaders are judged not only by what they say, but by what they do in times of crisis. Trump faced many difficult moments, such as the coronavirus pandemic, protests about racial injustice, and conflicts with other nations. In these moments, his behavior was often questioned. Sometimes he seemed to care more about how things looked than how people were feeling. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he focused on how the economy was doing, even when people were dying. He gave mixed messages about masks and treatments. Some people thought he was being positive. Others felt he was being irresponsible. These actions remind us that leadership requires not just confidence, but also care, wisdom, and trust. Finally, Trump's leadership teaches us about lasting influence. Even after he left the White House, his ideas, style, and supporters stayed active. Many people still follow him, quote him, and believe in his message. Others continue to fight against everything he stands for. This shows us that a leader's behavior doesn't just disappear after they leave office. The words, decisions, and style of a leader can leave a mark for years. Students, voters, and future politicians will all study how Trump led and what it meant for democracy, not just in America, but in the world. So, what do we learn from Donald Trump's leadership? We learn that behavior matters, style matters, words matter. Leadership is not only about experience or knowledge, it is also about emotion, action, and communication. A leader can inspire or divide, protect or provoke, calm or confuse. Donald Trump's time in power was full of lessons, some about strength, some about weakness, and many about how leadership is more than just a title. It is a choice, every single day.